All right, Free Radicals, welcome back. I'm Dave, and this is The Radical Independent. Thank you for watching. Can you believe this, Tulsi Gabbard? The nerve of this Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, this is sweet. Tulsi Gabbard, presidential candidates must also condemn election interference by U.S. intelligence agencies. Did you get that? Just the headline alone. This article comes to us from The Hill. And oh my, this video might not be monetized. In fact, it might be deleted. If that occurs, folks, this video will be uploaded over to Rockfin, my other platform, so please support over there. Also, David J. Spurrier at gmx.com for PayPal donations. So Tulsi Gabbard doubles down on the truth. She doubles down on honesty here. Reckless claims by anonymous intelligence officials that Russia is helping Bernie Sanders are deeply irresponsible. So was former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg's calculated decision Tuesday to repeat this unsubstantiated accusation on the debate stage in South Carolina. Enough is enough. I am calling on all presidential candidates to stop playing these dangerous political games and immediately condemn any interference in our elections by out-of-control intelligence agencies. Oh, man. A news article, she puts in quotes, published last week in the Washington Post, which set off yet another manufactured media firestorm, alleges that the goal of Russia is to trick people into criticizing establishment Democrats. You know what? You don't need Russia. You don't need Russia. We are smart enough. We don't need to be tricked by anyone. I am not tricked. This is a laughably obvious ploy to stifle legitimate criticism and cast aspersions on Americans who are rightly skeptical of the powerful forces exerting control over the primary election process. We are told the aim of Russia is to sow division. Oh my, our political system has been sowing. It's such a nebulous charge, like, well, Russia wants to sow discord. Yeah, it's like a Jimmy Dore line, you know, sowing discord. But the aim of the corporate media and self-serving politicians pushing this narrative is clearly to sow division of their own by generating baseless suspicion against the Sanders campaign. Now, what's interesting about this article is Tulsi is going to bat for Bernie yet again. So burners, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, because all the burners, I think, have left the building here, and I have not said publicly that there's no way in hell I'll vote for Bernie Sanders. I haven't said that. I would like to see Bernie start to tell the truth like Tulsi. Number one. Anyway, it's extremely disingenuous for journalists, again in quotes, and rival candidates to publicize a news article that merely asserts, without presenting any evidence, that Russia is helping Bernie Sanders, but provides no information as to what that help allegedly consists of. The American people have the right to know this information in order to put Russia's alleged interference into proper perspective. It is a mystery why the intelligence community would want to hide these details from us. Instead, they are relying on highly dubious and vague insinuations filtered through their preferred media outlets, which seem designed to create a panic rather than actually inform the public about a genuine threat. Russia, Russia, Russia. See, this is why Trump can go out there and just smash all these people, and he's correct. Whether you like Trump or not, he's right. All this does is undermine voters' trust in our elections, which is what we are constantly told is the goal of Russia. If the CIA, FBI, or any other intelligence agency is going to tell voters that Russians are interfering in this election to help certain candidates, or simply sow discord, then they need to immediately provide us with the details of what exactly they're alleging. Otherwise, all they are doing is fomenting a sense of powerlessness and paranoia in the voting public, which could suppress engagement in the electoral process. Which, by the way, probably favors elite candidates. Probably favors like the Michael Bloombergs of the world, who can just purchase votes like he did, he purchased, Congress last time around. And at least according to the anonymous officials speaking menacingly to the media, this is precisely what Russia wants. If our political leaders are those in the media who are really concerned with protecting the integrity of our elections from outside manipulation, instead of just making money from manufactured hysteria, man, is she on fire. Tulsi Gabbard is on fire. This is awesome. This is why, Tulsi's still my number one. They would presumably devote more coverage to proposals to institute backup paper ballots, which would ensure that no malicious actors can ever alter our votes or hack into our election infrastructure. The bill I introduced last year, the Securing America's Elections Act, does exactly that, but the media has never shown much interest because it would not generate the so-called bombshell headlines they so desperately crave. See how she's got this all figured out? She's got it all figured out. I mean, we all know this. Most people who are paying attention know this, but no other candidate has the balls to say it. The FBI, CIA, or any other intelligence agency should immediately stop smearing presidential candidates with innuendo and vague evidence-free assertions. That is antithetical to their role in a free democracy. The American people cannot have faith in our intelligence agencies if they are pushing an agenda to harm candidates they dislike. Any attempts to keep the American people quiet with the threat that if they dare criticize the Democratic Party establishment, they will be labeled hostile foreign agents are unacceptable and disgraceful. This new McCarthyism must be renounced by every presidential candidate. Otherwise, we must conclude they lack the foresight and integrity required to lead our country. I would add, Tulsi, that they are most likely in on it. If they won't renounce it, they are most likely in on it. If candidates are too afraid to stand up against those who would suppress the voices of the American people with McCarthyist smears, they are not real leaders. They're just power-hungry, self-serving politicians whose goal is to play act as president. Oh, man! Rather than actually defend the freedoms enshrined in our Constitution. It is now clear that the mainstream corporate media and the warmongering political establishment are seeking to do two things. Create enough suspicion around Sanders by falsely tarnishing him as a puppet of Russia that he loses the election. Or, at the very least, if Bernie wins the Democratic nomination, force him to engage in inflammatory anti-Russian rhetoric and perpetuate, oh man, Tulsi Gabbard, I know, here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard could easily be a media analyst who would bring so much to the table. And I'm not saying that's her new career path because I want her as president. But her analysis here is amazing because she recognizes that in order for Bernie to win, he's got to cozy up to this anti-Russia rhetoric. And imagine the goal here, or the outcome, rather, is to perpetuate the new Cold War and nuclear arms race, which are existential threats to our country and the world. By the way, they're serious threats. Imagine drumming up this type of media hysteria, which isn't, it doesn't have zero consequences. In other words, you're not doing this in a vacuum. This is ticking the likes of Russia off because they're being branded as something that they might not be. The strategy worked very well with Trump. Trump has spent his entire presidency trying to prove to the media that he is not Putin's puppet by carrying out extremely aggressive policies that have brought us closer to nuclear war with Russia than we have been in decades. If Sanders is the Democratic nominee, the corporate media will do everything they can to turn the election into a contest of who is going to be tougher on Russia. This tactic is necessary to propagandize the American people into shelling over their hard-earned tax dollars to the Pentagon to fund the highly lucrative nuclear arms race that the military-industrial complex craves. In the most recent appropriations bill last year, the Pentagon was handed $738 billion, which includes a blank check for dangerous new nuclear warheads and destabilizing missile systems that increase the likelihood of catastrophic war with Russia. Man, the question facing any potential Democrat nominee is this: am I going to allow myself to be manipulated and forced into a corner by overreaching intelligence agencies and the corporate media, where in order for me to win the presidency, now this is a warning for Bernie right here. This is a warning for Bernie Sanders. In order for me to win the presidency, I'm going to have to do what I know is not in the interests of the American people and world peace. Or will I stand up to the corporate neocon and neoliberal establishment, condemn their lies and smears, and act with the integrity and foresight necessary to forge a rational policy that will serve all our interests? Hey, all you TYT types and all of you neo-progressives who have channels out there, I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. But you guys should have been wall-to-wall Tulsi Gabbard, because she is a better candidate. Right here, she shows the world why she's a better candidate than Bernie Sanders. Again, I'm going to repeat this. Will I stand up to the neocon, and this is, again, a warning to Bernie, the neocon and neoliberal establishment? Will I condemn their lies and act with the integrity and foresight necessary to forge a rational policy that will serve all our interests? The problem with President Trump is that he talks tough against the media and the intelligence agencies, but he was not strong enough to stand up to their pressure. He was cowed into trying to prove that he's not a puppet of Russia, and as a consequence has brought us closer and closer to nuclear war. The Democratic nominee cannot make the same mistake. Our country and the world are depending on it. Wow. Ha ha! Zing! Can you feel the smoke? I can. Unbelievable. Tulsi Gabbard. First of all, she does a couple of things in this article. She does stick up for Bernie, that Bernie is being branded as a Russian. And then, like myself, who I am very, disgusted with Bernie and the idea that he would kowtow and say, yeah, Putin's a thug, he's an autocrat, this and that, and he's got to talk tough in order to be accepted by the neoliberal establishment, who are still going to stab him in the back at the end of the day with the Russian narrative if he becomes the nominee. So, Tulsi Gabbard proving to the world why she is the best candidate. I mean, she understands this stuff in a way which kind of transcends all of these neo-progressive commentators out there, succinctly, directly, and tells the truth and says, look, Bernie, first of all, it's irresponsible to cozy up to these people. But, hey, I'll defend you. I'll say they shouldn't be branding you a Russian without proof, but then you need to stop playing this neoliberal game. And this, I would say to all of the Bernie Sanders campaign apparatus out there, including all of these neo-progressive YouTubers out there, the comfortable couch and the house is my house and your house and everybody's house, stop cozying up to Sanders. Start being hard on Sanders, and that's going to cause a ripple effect, and maybe, just maybe, it will reach somebody in the campaign who says, you know what, we need to just start this movement from the outside. We need to hope that there are enough non-neoliberals out there, and we need to be able to tell the truth and speak truth to these intelligence agencies, because, everyone's condemning Russia, right? Well, they need to be able to say, hey, the U.S. intelligence might also be involved in this. And of course, all the network talking heads and pundits, their heads will explode because in the U.S. intelligence agencies, they do trust. Okay, they just think as soon as you cross that line, Trump did it, Tulsi's doing it here, Bernie kind of wants to do it, but then he backs away from it. Anytime you cross the streams, and you say, I don't know, maybe our intelligence is involved in, of course Russiagate was manufactured, people. Of course it was created by the neoliberal establishment with the help of John Podesta and Hillary Clinton. Of course. Of course it was. So that's the video. Tulsi Gabbard, absolutely on fire. This is just one of the great articles I've ever read. I mean, coming from a presidential candidate, coming from a public servant, coming from somebody who has a unique perspective, who many really can't wrap their brains around because they don't have the same experience. They have not had the same life experiences as Tulsi Gabbard. So basically, they have no business critiquing Gabbard in this way. They don't know her heart. They don't understand what she's about. She's more genuine, but yet she's also much more aligned with the truth than Bernie Sanders. And either Bernie made a political calculation which shows me that he's not necessarily this revolutionary candidate that everybody says he is. He stops short. In order to get this done, I'm going to have to play along with their conspiracy. Well, I'm sorry, that's not honesty, that's not integrity. I would rather lose with the truth than win and cozy up to the neoliberals. And that's what Bernie Sanders is in the process of doing. And we shall see if he continues. I mean, it's not going to serve him, it's not going to help him, because they're still going to call him a Russian agent at the end of the day. All right, folks, a little fired up here. I love this article. Love, love, love. Share this article. It's from The Hill, just in case you didn't know. And it was written yesterday by Tulsi Gabbard, who is still a presidential candidate running for the Democratic Party nomination. I really wish she'd be running for like the Green Party or Libertarian Party or just as an independent, but this is the path she chose. That's my only criticism of Tulsi, because again, as Jill Stein eloquently said, you can't have a revolution inside of a counter-revolutionary party. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and David J. Spurrier at gmx.com for one-time or repeated PayPal donations. I'll take any donation in any denomination at this point, as, of course, the channel is severely under attack by the establishment and the algorithm as well, which is basically the same thing. All right, see you soon.